Welcome back to the absolute most professional StarCraft 2. The fastest players in an already breakneck game. I give you the blue Terran. In the bottom left from the old guard, the world champion Terran, Micro Jackson. It is ByuN. And his counterpart, almost a decade younger, also a world champion. The most micro-intensive Zerg, Reynor, the Italian stallion. Both these players, the bleeding edge of their respective races, sometimes to their own detriment. A best of 5, Terran versus Zerg, to see who moves up and who moves out in this quarterfinals of ESL Summer. If you want to see ByuN prove that he's not washed up, but instead well-aged, or the Italian stallion continue to push the limits of what's possible in StarCraft 2. Either way, like, subscribe if you haven't made it there yet. Jimmy, 1,060? To get 1,060 likes, I'll cast another series, if I'm capable of it, after these two clash. Which is, you know, not a guarantee, but I'll probably do it anyway. But we're already starting out. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed the commentary in the past. I hope I make your day a little bit better. I have my suspicions this is not going to be a short series, but it's not going to be a slow one either, as ByuN is still continuing his incredibly heavy micro style. He comes in, bounces the queens away, snipes the creep tumor, and gets out. Already kicking things off, making it difficult for Reynor to even move out of his first 2 bases, which is annoying. Doesn't even, oh my god, dodges past the links. Reynor looking for the surround, jukes back, another beautiful grenade, even the drone getting in on the action, and ByuN comes out of it completely unscathed. Oh, well, if you had any suspicions, I know ByuN had some wrist issues during the tournament, but, well, I wonder why. As, finally, another round of Zerglings comes out. ByuN is not making it easy for him. Even targets down the badly bruised Zergling. And finally, the Reapers will be dealt with. But at what cost? As Reynor is limited to 2 bases to kick things off, which is incredibly annoying for Zerg players to deal with, as you just don't have the larva. That's the real issue. The larva, especially when you go for this many Zerglings, just to deal with the Reapers. Not getting that 3rd hatchery. He's getting a Baneling nest now, as ByuN is following it up in classic ByuN fashion. It's not going to be Reapers, it's going to be Marines. And then maybe, if he's feeling particularly ambitious, it's going to be Medivacs. But the most micro-intensive Terran units, he already has 21 Marines on the way across. I'm reasonably sure Reynor suspected this would be the follow-up. He's already got the Baneling nest on the way. Will it be done in time to deal with any of this? Reynor snuck up to 48 drones, but Baneling speed is but a dream right now, as the lair has only just begun. +1 Carapace, only halfway there, but these Marines have stim, combat shield, and ByuN at the controls. So right now, the queens, not too many transfuses between them either. Well, they'll stim in. The Banelings will arrive. It's time. Will ByuN have the aimbot turned on? Here come the Banes. Lings really just can't even close the distance. 1, 2, 3 queens targeted down. The drones are next on the agenda. Down go 8. Try to target. Banelings will find the connection. But 8 drones and 4 queens are taken out for 24 Marines. Overall, well, that's a pretty heavy loss of Marines. I think ByuN still gets as much as he needed. Honestly, the Banelings connecting in such a direct fashion without being targeted down means the attack kind of just ends abruptly. But killing the queens off is the same thing as before. It's the larva. It's the difficulty of getting drones and Zerglings, as each of those larvae has to make a decision between the two. And that means Reynor's economy is going to be limited. ByuN does have a third command center, a third orbital command. He's got 1-1 on the way, a Baneling drop from Reynor, not willing to give up all the potential aggression to his Korean counterpart. Bane drops, something I have not seen this entire tournament. Possibly this entire, maybe this entire year. At one point, even especially against Protoss, they were quite a mainstay, but the cost-benefit is usually not quite there. But here comes Reynor coming in towards the main. We're going to go to the ByuN action camp.
Complete.
All right, he spots it. He knows what's in there, already pre-pulled. He is going to counter by trying to drop him. Nope, he picks up.
This better be good.
Now he knows the map is dark and full of overlords. Ling's trying to counter. Well, in towards the third. Right now, ByuN has most of his units on the way across the map. But the Zerglings get into the natural. A bit of a disaster for ByuN. Or is it? Where is the Bane drop? Headed towards the third. ByuN pulls back. Double drop. Lings and Banes. He paid attention. He does pick up most of the Marines. Handful of Zerglings into the main. ByuN still at 60 SCVs. Gonna drop a few here, it looks like. But the drop goes into the main, as he's not willing to give up the initiative to the Italian Stallion quite yet. +1 infantry weapons and armor are complete. +2 weapon starts immediately. No hesitation. He knows what his priorities are. He gets the spore. He picks up, and he gets out. ByuN not giving up the momentum at all. You see how clearly he is intent on maintaining the initiative. Reynor trying to take it back. But ByuN is someone who... both these players play an incredibly momentum-based. Like getting up in your grill and keeping you so busy, you never get a chance to strike back. Instead of an unstoppable force versus a movable object, it's just two forces clashing constantly. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised to see a base trade in every game, to some extent, when it just gets too out of hand and neither player is able to keep enough on each side of the map. The splits on the Marines are kind of mediocre. Widowmine doesn't find the connection. Drops are still intact. The medevacs keep going back and forth. +2/+2 scan. Sees the base on the right side. Not a huge concern yet. ByuN at 60 SCVs. 73 drones for Reynor. 2-2 has begun for ByuN. +1 ranged attack. And +2 Carapace in production for Reynor, which indicates he wants to go towards the Hydralisk. Does he have an infestation pit? No. Muscular augments on the way. ByuN keeping some control of the creep here. Reynor's done what he could after losing that many queens early on. Double drop in the back, though. No anti-air. Gonna force the response from the Zerglings. Where are the Banelings? Oh, not quite enough Marines in order to hold their ground. Will be forced to pick up yet again. It's just Marines here. Not even... He doesn't have a Marauder on the map. Just Marines, medevacs, mines, and that's it. That's the end of list. ByuN knows what he wants. Widowmine's the only admission that Mass Marine might not be perfect against units who are ostensibly supposed to counter it in the Banelings. We got 3 more racks on the way, going up to the Octo racks, and the 4 command centers as well. Another attack in. Marines stutter stepping. Widowmine's trying to drag into the Marines. Big hits on the... Hits the Banes to the north. Infantry weapons level 2 is complete. Armor right alongside it. Reynor's +2 Carapace about to complete as well. Double drop towards the right side. Hydra's trickling in. Gun down immediately. Widowmine will burrow. Kind of wasted on... Wait, will it fire on the eggs? I don't believe it automatically fires anymore. A bit of a quality of life buff in the beginning of the year patch. Zerg Cabal very thoughtful with that one. Double drop finally dealt with. Banelings as well. Widowmine diffused. But oh, he missed one. Widowmine connects, and the hatchery itself is under fire. Over to the... Oh, almost gets it, but not quite. I don't know how much HP. 100 HP, so... A handful more Marine shots. Thrown towards it. And it will be going down, but not quite yet. ByuN keeping the pressure on. 92 to 74 in army supply. Reynor still not... He doesn't have a hive on the way. He's got Hydras, Lings, and Banes. He's got 86 drones. He has the economy now to potentially collapse on ByuN's army. But he does have to catch it first. That's the hard part. But the Widow Mines actually do just as much damage to ByuN. ByuN kills 15 Marines in a medevac, but he still has almost that number over to the top. And he very likely will be taking out the hatchery here. Stutter steps, picks up, gets out, hatchery down, creep still under control, concussive shells on the way right now. ByuN 430 against Reynor's 500-something APL. And that number's only going to rise at this stage as Reynor is approaching 4 digits. A lot of the medevacs badly bruised, especially from these Widow Mines that keep splashing over them. ByuN has now killed 2 medevacs throughout this. ByuN doing terrible, terrible damage to both sides. Marauders being added in as an admission that the sheer amount of banelings needs to be mitigated somehow. Hydralisk count starting to grow. Very good against those Marauders. And by starting to grow, I mean he has 28 Hydras. That is a huge amount of Hydras. Rarely do we see such a strong note. Rarely do we see more than low double digits with these armies. And Reynor isn't even close to maxed. Thing is, the Hydras cost a lot of gas. If you're able to keep them alive, that's an investment that's paying off. You can just fill in Zerglings and Banelings in the front, assuming the Hydras don't block those same units. Widow Mines, looking for the connections, find a Hydra, still targeting down the Banes. Medevac's out of energy, though, which means the Marines and Marauders don't have the DPS to press through. The Hydras, the sheer amount of them. 30, going on 40 Hydralisks. That is... this is Brood War numbers. ByuN does have 3-3 on the way. He's got a Ghost Academy coming up. At this point, siege tanks or ghosts are maybe going to be the late game option just for auto attack against the Hydras. Widow Mines not finding the connections. ByuN still seesawing back and forth. He's got armies on both sides, as does Reynor, of course, as he's pressing in. But 3-3 is now complete. ByuN has hit his final power spike here. His army is not going to get any stronger without adding units into the composition. He now has 3-3 against +1 melee, +1 range, and +2 carapace. Marines and Marauders, well known for firing quickly. Somehow the drugs help them with that. So, this means ByuN has reached peak strength of the ByuN. And Reynor can only start to close the gap. The Marauder count starting to get damn high. 21 Marauders, 23 Marines, 40 Hydras on the field. I don't think I've ever seen this many Hydras as part of a core army composition. That's 80 supply of Hydras. Now, Hydras overall need the concave. It's everything. You really need that position. ByuN not allowing Reynor to have it. Ooh, Banelings connect. And that might be enough to blunt the force of the attack and allow the concave of the Hydralisk to punch through. Widow Mines still doing more and more damage to the Terran army than they are to the Zerg. The Hydra's powering through. He lost a lot of them, though not enough. The Marauders are just not particularly great against them. They don't have the DPS to compete. The Marines are much better, but the Banelings, of course, render them obsolete. Widow Mines on the high ground. ByuN stimming and stimming and stimming, and the medevacs are exhausted right now. They're almost entirely out of energy, but they're holding on. 5 lurkers on the way, as Reynor has bent on multiple fronts, but he did not break, and now he's bouncing back. Oh, game 1. 540 versus 460. We have now passed 1,000 average APM in this match. And still rising. The lurkers are revealed. We should see ghosts in production immediately, as soon as ByuN has some free supply. The Hydra count. They have +2 range now. ByuN doesn't really have much time to get the ghosts going before some of the lurkers are going to close into the south. I remind you at this point, it is a single player playing on both sides. The army's clashing on both fronts. The lurkers, he's gonna surround, he's gonna scan, he's stimming, but is he winning? He gets every single lurker! ByuN does not cower in the face of the lurkers, but instead rips their faces off with the stimmed bio, without the Hydras, without the Lings, without the Banes. The Lurkers on their own are not enough, and Reynor has lost the hatchery. He's lost a bunch of his most valuable units. ByuN picks up. He even manages to evacuate some of his units. He completely takes the pressure off and does terrible, terrible damage. On the other side, he gets another hatch. And the Widow Mines are recharging. Reynor has lost momentum. And with it, the Widow Mines continue to chip away at what Reynor has left. ByuN knew he had a very limited window before the Lurkers were bearing down on his base. But he slipped through and turned it all around. And now ByuN, it's his game to lose. As he has the supply advantage, he's got ghosts in production, he's got 5 bases comfortably mining with a worker lead. Adaptive Talons might be complete, but it possibly is too little and too late. The Hydra count is down to 15, some of them went into Lurkers. Oh no, the Widow Mines. It's easy enough to deal with Widow Mines when you're able to focus, but when you're half a step behind, that half a step is what kills you. Planetary Fortress at the 9 o'clock. ByuN is well secured. His ghost count is growing beyond 0, which is what he needed to deal with the Lurkers. Reynor has no more mistakes left to make. The ghosts are the most difficult part of the composition. The Bio Army is outflanking the Lurkers. ByuN coming in from the north. Lurkers will burrow. The stim. The scan. He targets them down. Widowmine still taking chunks of the Zerg away throughout the map. Overseers. Reynor down to 133 supply, but ByuN, he seized the moment. He found the opportunity. As they rotated around, Reynor tried to swing in with Lurkers towards the 3rd, but ByuN cut through the Lurkers back at home. And now he's maxed out. The snipes. That may very well be it. ByuN with an absolute masterclass in momentum in game 1. It doesn't get much better than that. Some of the most high speed, high pressure. ByuN maybe could have microed marginally better in a couple different scenarios, but as Terran versus Zerg goes, I'm not entirely sure if it gets any better. Oh my. The greatest enemy of ByuN historically has been himself. So we'll see by the end of this, but even Reynor unable to keep up. He slipped. He slipped. He didn't. It wasn't like he tumbled down the stairs. He just hesitated. He hesitated on the attack slightly to the south, and the Lurkers got run down. And you could kind of tell, like, Reynor was debating Lurkers at all. Because Lurkers can be great against Bio, but they're expensive. They're not particularly maneuverable. The critical mass of Hydras was doing surprisingly well. And if you're out of position, you've lost a huge chunk of your investment very quickly to units that are easily replaced. Wasn't even Ghost there. How many players will look at like 8 Lurkers and say, you know what? Yeah, I can take that. All right, let's narrow down the list significantly. How many of those players aren't named ByuN? Nope. Sit down, Cure. But I beat ByuN in TVT. Yeah, fair. ByuN, he's found a middle ground, all right? He still likes the Reapers. And I quote ByuN against Dark. I don't know, I don't remember what tournament it was. But recently, think maybe the Korean StarCraft 2 link, but where he did like the 3 Rex Reaper build, like he's doing right, or the not the 3 Rex, the 2 Rex Reaper opener, where you just build 3 Reapers to start. And Dark asked, how many times are you gonna do this build? And ByuN just said, until I win. I believe ByuN ended up winning that series, so. No. He's just taking it. He knows 3 Reapers are much better than 1. All you have to do is just micro perfectly. He's killing the queen. Like, you can't really go for the delayed speed against ByuN. That is something a lot of Zerg players have been doing. Is delaying speed by 10. Oh my god. Hunting the queen in her own base. This is... Why are you like this? This is the side of the map where the add-ons are exposed, but, yeah. The Reapers. He's watching. He sees the Zerglings. Huh? God. Well, it comes down to micro. What can I say? The Zerglings flirting with the idea. The Queen's moving into position to body block. Pretty sure ByuN knows that. Oh, but Reynor gets the wraparound. Another grenade. Oh, come on, bro. He's trying to dance. No. Sit down, young man. That's enough. Finally, some vengeance. But what did it cost? It's not a particularly... It's not too different than the previous game. I think Reynor dealt with it a little better. But... ByuN just sets Marine squads out there and is looking to follow it up. I knew this series would be great, but this is... God. We need... But if anyone should get cybernetic wrists, okay. Truly, the only limiting factor on ByuN are his wrists. He needs to be the Star Wars protagonist, okay? I'm not saying we should chop his hand off, but if it happens, it happens. That's all I'm saying. All right, Swan did just fine. Well, the Marines. Well, that's enough of them. That's enough links. Oh my God, the target fire. Even when they're almost dead, they're still dangerous. Target's down a couple banes. So, that wasn't worth. That one, he did do pretty much exactly the same build to last game. If you know anything about the Zerg, you know they adapt. That's why it's so hard to face them in longer series, and that's why players like Cyril and Reynor are terrifying. Well, Reynor's adapted. He added a few more Zerglings. He made sure he had the Banes ready. He's put the Queens in the right spots. And now, instead of being in an awkward situation without enough larvae and mediocre economy, he's got a solid 3 base, getting a 4th. He's got plenty of Queens, and he's got plenty of drones. So this will be much more of an uphill battle for ByuN than the previous game. Burrow is on the way. Burrowed Bane. Remember that one time Burrowed Banes were a thing? Alright, Burrow's done. Reynor trying to make it work. I mean, Burrow has a lot of uses. Just blocking bases. ByuN brings a siege tank along for the ride. Baneling speed is still a long way off, and that's a defining characteristic. Yeah, this game it's going to be siege. Widowmine's honestly didn't really pay off until ByuN was already winning the game last game. That's the thing, because Widow Mines are a bit of a win more unit in many cases against players like Reynor, who are just so good at dealing with them. Until ByuN had so much momentum, Reynor couldn't keep up. The Widow Mines were not finding. In fact, they probably killed more Terran units than they killed Zerg. The siege tanks are a little more reliable, but still not perfect. Is it actually going to happen? Is it going to work? Well, unfortunately, the Baneling Mines don't have particularly much range. The siege tank's in a pretty nasty position. He left the rock tower as well. He left the rock... One Baneling connects. And that was the wrong Bane. In a scan, he spots the Burrow Banes. Reynor realizes immediately. So now he's going to have to keep that in mind. Takes down the rock tower. To wall off the tank, he fires a shot at it. Lings and Banes coming around, but the drop in the Bane! Reynor gets caught out. ByuN, one cornered, slips away yet again. ByuN is scanning. You can see it on the minimap. He's scanning for the Burrow Banes out of his base. Oh god, those Marines. But it's 1-1 on the Zerglings. No. Unfortunately. Well, I mean, fine. ByuN still maintains... Wow, his army supply is massive. Reynor. 61 drones here. Well, losing a couple more. ByuN actually presses in and cuts down the hatchery. He finishes it off. Even some of the overlords exposed there. Not the priority targets, but not bad ones either. Reynor's already got 2-2 on the way, though. He's focused on the upgrades this time around. He wants to trade directly with the Marines, the Lings and Banes, able to close the distance and get the damage done. It is so frustrating to deal with these Marines when they have the upgrades. ByuN picks up. All right. He's waiting. He's waiting for the other one. He's doing the dance of impatience. Both players, you can tell. They patrol their units. They don't just sit there. Not even their units can slow down. So, ByuN goes towards the main. There's plenty of Zerglings. He does not respect them. Apparently he allocated his units in such a way that he couldn't actually lift up. But ByuN reverts to his true form here, which is a massive doom drop when things get tough. Another drop shut down by the Queens, but Reynor, I have to keep saying it. It keeps being true. He adapted. He's adapted to ByuN's style. Though ByuN, I don't think there's any quick and easy way to deal with ByuN. But there are ways to deal with it. This overwhelming Zergling count. He gets the Marines and some of the siege tanks. Everything on the low ground is ripped apart. To shreds, I say. But ByuN somehow maintains enough army supply to stay on the map. He still has the medevacs. But Reynor is holding. +2 Carapace is done, making it that much easier to survive the siege tank shots. +2 melee is about to complete. Burrow Banes dot the map. Reynor now has a 2 upgrade advantage. ByuN is a long way off any of that. He's getting his 3rd now. ByuN has ceded map control to Reynor. Not intentionally, not by choice. But at this point, very simply, he can't hold it. This is a classic Terran versus Zerg. That burrowed Zergling is perfect from Ray. I love this. This is the kind of stuff that Burrow needs to be used for. It's been said throughout the history of StarCraft 2. It's one of those little things. But it's worth mentioning again. Burrow is not just for the dramatic banelings. I like ByuN moving around. He knows there's likely some Bane mines out there. Hydralisk Den on the way. Infestation pit. I think Reynor learned his lesson. Is there even vision? Oh, he's got vision. You can see him by the edge of the creep there. But ByuN is just sitting... Oh, he scans. He finds him. If he actually gets through... Oh, 3 Banes with speed. It's the 2-2, though. The upgrades mean that, like, he doesn't come out on the winning end of close trades. Not anymore. Usually it's the Terran who has the upgrade advantage. But Reynor has focused on that, and he's removed that extra edge that ByuN was cutting through with last game. Makes it that much harder for the Marines to stick around in a fight. That much more difficult to target down Banes. ByuN's doing what he can, and what he can is a whole lot. As he continues. Like, he's still close to 200 supply, despite never even going past 60 SCVs. He's got his third, he's getting Liberators here. Looks like a 2-2 timing is going to be kind of a delayed... not really all in, but pretty damn close, because he's going to need to get something done. Because Reynor is closing in on a hive. Adrenal glands, 3-3, Vipers. All those are deadly to a Terran who's still mostly on basic bio. Overlord's kind of wandering out. The Marines sticking around. ByuN setting up some target fire. ByuN stretching out pretty far here. Big counterattack. Sensor tower spots it with time to spare. ByuN may take down the rocks on the other side there. 19 more Banes. Is it gonna happen? Alright, I mean, there are the Bane mines over there. Not a huge impact. The upgrades are even now. ByuN's army supply. He had 1 Bane mine, and it hit almost everything. But medevacs exist. The prevailing issue. Still 1 more Baneling back there. As you can tell, ByuN's struggling to make progress here. Really giving it his best, which is a fearsome amount. But Reynor is overwhelming. Banelings crashing in. A bit of a cost and effective fight. Lurker Den's on the way. It's still very tenuous. One particularly bad fight, and ByuN can grab this right back. Reynor has to be very careful. The Banelings are just rolling down the ramp. Liberator sieging up, providing some fire support. Marines, some textbook splits back here. Oh, the Marines are forced back so far. I don't know if there are any more Widow Mines. ByuN losing a lot of army supply. The Liberators covering each other. And the Hydras at the back making the difference. So many medevacs went down. The damage isn't there. Reynor's able to carry it through. The Hydralists providing the backline DPS that nothing else could. Reynor adapted to ByuN's bio-timing style and will overcome it. At least in Game 2. We're all tied up. Best of 3 from here to decide it. As we go into the next map, it's going to be Grezman. Jimmy. And ByuN with 2 wrecks. He's sticking to his dual pistols. This time around, though, Reynor has gone for a pull first with gas. Shaken, not stirred. Will this be for the quickest Zergling speed or a Roach Horn, which could spice things up? Grezman is the turtle map. I mean, I guess Royal Blood has seen a lot of it as well, but Grezman is just such a distance between the players that if either is able to lock it down, especially Terran, but in general, that the match can kind of drag on until somebody finds an endgame army, or the map starts to mine out, really. We've seen that, Dark versus ByuN, several times. But Reynor is not Dark. Reynor will fight. Sometimes to his detriment. And ByuN is willing to meet him. Yeah, the hatchery timing is spotted. He wants to come in. He's looking for the gases. He sees one. He's actually going to give it the full runaround. Spots the Zergling speed. He's looking... You can't build a roach warren off creep. Very simply. Very technically, you're going to have the one guys like you could proxy it by doing the hatch cancel trick. Yes. But... not really, though. Like... So, ByuN has an idea of the options. There's already a baneling nest on the way. Well, well. ByuN will make Marines or die trying. Reynor is going to try to make that death expedite it as much as possible. Bunker on the way. I think he counted the gas. He got in. He saw that Reynor was still mining gas past the amount you need for Zergling speed, which means he's up to no good. Okay, it's not like he forgot. So many Zerg builds revolve around mining exactly as much gas as you need for that 100 for Zergling speed. The Baneling bust is coming. Reynor is unwilling, or at least is not interested in playing out the longer game on this map. If he can try to bust through with the shorter one. Here come the Banes, but the Reapers are in position. SCV's already pulled target fire on the Banes. Well, he may be able to get the bunker. More Zerglings piling in. There is some production on the top of the ramp. 6 SCVs. Okay, so, end result. He may lose stim. I believe ByuN just canceled. Yeah, he just can't. He gave up on the stim. Realizes it's going to be a liability. So, marginal success. He doesn't get stim. ByuN is prevented from stim. He loses all the SCVs on the low ground. He loses the add-on. He's forced to evacuate back to his bane. Retreat into his shell. He's actually going to lock those Marines in. But Reynor shall not pass any further. Yeah, that is about as hard of a wall as it gets. Technically, the wall is made up of a command center and the barracks. The supply, I'm pretty sure. I'm no expert on such technologies, but... So. Well, the game doesn't end. In fact, it's gonna kind of even out. Reynor did plenty of damage, but it also cost him. The opportunity cost was a whole lot of that economy. He does not have the drone count to follow this up immediately. He just now gets his 3rd hatchery. He is not going to have much in the way of tech. He's been really focused on those upgrades, though, throughout the series. And once again, even now on this low economy Zerg. So, where does that leave us? About even? I think I actually favor ByuN's position slightly here. As he has all his barracks already produced. He's already invested in this infrastructure. Whereas Reynor had to build an Evo chamber, build another hatch, build more queens. He's got to use drones to build extractors and all these things. So as long as ByuN doesn't lose too many of his units coming down the ramp. No, 1 slow baneling is not going to scare him. 10 might. Maybe. Oh, that? He lost several Zerglings. And by that I mean 1. Because I'm so good at counting. Well, the real... Oh, supply blocked. Trying to get the medevacs. That's actually a pretty big deal, this supply block. A lot of the advantage was hinging upon those medevacs coming out as soon as possible. Being delayed by 20 seconds even here is a big deal, as +1 Carapace is likely to be finished for Reynor. He's not going to have baneling speed for a while yet. There is no 3rd base for ByuN either. So he is funneled into this one strategy. Now, this one strategy is exactly what ByuN wants to do. This is his default. Marines and medevacs. And then what, ByuN? More Marines. And then what? Marines. Reynor, a little supply block. The depot is not raised! Oh no! It's a disaster! We're going to chaos here. What's at home? There's some banelings. ByuN, this went from a timing to he needs to do the damage. He splits. He stims for everything here. He's microing with the medevacs. Wasn't enough. He loses 18 SCVs at home. You can't leave the door open. All right, you can't leave the door open. What are you, a Protoss? And just like that, the tenuous grip that ByuN still had on this game has slipped almost entirely through his fingers. I don't know what he can do from here. All he's got is a handful of Marines. Baneling speed is about to complete. Reynor. I liked ByuN's position, but very tenuously. And Reynor slowed him down and has knocked him out as he takes it 2-1, putting him on match point. Follows up the Bane bust. ByuN not quite able. He was ready for something too, but Reynor had just enough to break through. You can't leave the door open. The classic mistake. The Zerg aren't sending their best. They're sending their Zerglings, and then usually more Zerglings after that, if they're any good. It's not good. It's not good. All right. Well, 2-1 Reynor. Bit of a rough couple games for ByuN. Reynor's like, what if I get a spawning pool? But even earlier. Actually, I think this is similar timing. Previous game. It worked. ByuN's like, all right, so I know what the real issue was. I didn't build enough Reapers, which has been his answer to Zergs for the better part of a decade. Ever since his championship against Dark in 2016. No, speed and still my... Right, I can't... He wouldn't do it again. You're not a Terran. He might. Royal Blood is our other drawn-out macro map as well. Reynor may very well try to undercut those maps, as ByuN has plenty of experience in dragging them out and eventually stretching the Zerg to an extent they break. But here come the Reapers. It's 3 racks Reaper. Absolute classic. Up against... Is it going to be Ling Bane? Honestly, Mass Reaper deals with Ling Bane absolutely fine. It is not a problem. Assuming the first set of Reapers do not. You cannot lose Reapers. You can't lose those first 4 or 5. As long as you keep 4 or 5, you pretty much always have a grenade. And ByuN's not going to make that mistake. He's not going to miss a grenade. He's going to know, like, this entire map is filled with balconies to jump off. So... we'll see if ByuN... He's got to get to the 3 bases. Reynor has done a great job of adapting and undercutting what ByuN wants to do. He saw what would happen in Game 1. Game 1, tit for tat, back and forth. Unfortunately, though, ByuN was able to take advantage. The moment, the split second, Reynor slipped. It wasn't even really a slip. He just kind of went slightly left when he should have went slightly right. Like, it's not like it was a full U-turn. He just diverged a bit. But, oh my. Well, 9 Reapers, 10 Zerglings. The math doesn't add up right now for you, Reynor.
The numbers don't lie, and they spell disaster for you.
He's using grenades to kill the creep tumor, despite a lack of vision. 3rd hatchery on the way, but the Reapers have arrived. What year is it? You might remember this from your childhood, Reynor, he says. Before you were even literally old enough to participate in WCS, I was getting Reapers nerfed. That's true. You had to be 16 years old to participate. I don't believe Reynor was 16 in 2016. So, there was a lot of drama over that in the first year he participated. Well, that hatchery taken a whole lot of damage. So far, exactly 0 Reapers have been killed. Not too many Zerglings. Almost nothing outright has died. But that hatchery is now a liability. There's already stim on the way. Absolute classic Terran versus Zerg. Alright. Now, the queens he could probably fight. But the Zerglings are another story. Both at the same time is just far too much. If he can isolate either group of units, well, there's a grenade. Yeah, off a creep. ByuN is not going to be caught. Even though the Overlords are spotting where the Reapers are moving, you just don't have the speed. Transfuses on the hatches. Working on it. 1-1 on the way. Once again, Reynor working up the upgrades. I'm going to use them as the main leverage against the Marines and medevacs. Speaking of, +1 and combat shield. So far, ByuN has lost no units. Every Reaper still intact. Reynor's only lost a handful of Zerglings, so he hasn't. The tension is high, but neither player has committed. Overlord could be taken out. Once again, no 3rd command center for ByuN. Fully focused on using his barracks to put together this attack. And Reynor, a bit awkwardly supply blocked for a moment. Lair's not done. That means Baneling speed is still quite far off. 1-1 is not really done yet. There is not that much going for Reynor right now. Plenty. Wow, yeah. He's well prepared for the counter. Grenades to zone out the Banelings. But some of them getting bounced forward. Losing a couple Reapers to start. The Marines surrounded. Will be forced to pick up. ByuN retreats from the first fight. But drops behind this mineral line. Doesn't quite get the position he wanted. But still gonna oh, I don't know. Well. No, that definitely went good for Reynor. Getting all of the Reapers and a lot of the Marines. Even before his upgrades fully kicked in. Winning a trade before Baneling speed is a straight win. Honestly, even being kind of close. He needs to do whatever he can to keep ByuN at bay before Baneling speed is done. Because until Baneling speed is done, a larger army is going to be almost impossible to deal with. The target fire on the siege tanks just slamming into the Banelings. Only 1 survives the volleys. The 4th hatchery will not. The Marines easily targeting it down, getting a few bonus drones as well. Siege tanks moving into another position, jam themselves up against the corner, minimizing literal back to a wall. The Marines continue to move their way through. Reynor's actually supply blocked awkwardly here. ByuN picks up to try to protect. You know there's another drop coming out. You can just feel it. And by drop, I mean double Liberator, actually. Kind of a crazy play, but going to try to drag the Queens out of position here. It may very well be successful. Most of the Queens are committed to the left side where the hatchery is already so badly bruised. The Reapers did a real number on it, and now it's a liability. Like, at some point, you got to consider, do I kill my own hatchery and rebuild it for full HP? And no, but, like, now we're here, and it's such a difficult position because the Marines could kill it in 2 or 3 seconds if they're able to focus. Liberators have sieged up to the south as well. forcing the drones away from the base. More Marines pick up, get out. Siege tanks protected by another group of Marines. Reynor unable to deal with any of this particularly efficiently. Finally, a spore. I believe another spore was in position to block the Liberators towards the natural. ByuN. He could snipe the hatch. He gets the spore. Hatch is next on the agenda. Down it goes, finally. Oh, been teasing me the whole time. +2 on the way for Reynor, but he's stuck on Ling Bane. He's stuck on Ling Bane without the army supply. He does have the hatcheries, but he doesn't have that many drones. So he's gonna have to catch ByuN somewhere. ByuN has the position now. He's playing quite careful for someone who has most of his units on the other side of the map. The siege tanks well spread. But at some point, there are just too many Lings and Bane. You can see the siege tanks kind of wiggling around, try to target fire down some Banelings. Get a few of them. But overall, Reynor does take all 3 tanks out. Burrow about to complete. ByuN's momentum is slowed down, but very importantly, he's got that 3rd command center. In fact, he has a worker lead. And the income should be swinging back his way momentarily. Another base attempted, targeted down. Not even a cancel from Reynor. And that's money, it's hard. Can't really afford to lose. Some burrowed Banes out there. Reynor really trying to leverage that APM, but of all the players to try to leverage it against, ByuN's the toughest. Well, the burrowed Banes, that's an opportunity. He gets a hit. And it blunts the force of that attack. The burrowed Banes taking a chunk out of the Marines, making a difference. And now ByuN down 10, 12 army supply. Oh, well, replenished immediately, but... you really need to maintain a higher supply with Ling Bane. It's hard. It's really hard. But you can't trade with the M&M and M&M without it. The upgrades are good, but you need overwhelming force. The swarm must be enough. Widowmine diffused. The multi-tier bio push. ByuN on the balcony. Bullying his way forward. 2-2, still pretty far out. You can kind of tell the upgrades. Even if you couldn't see him, you can kind of tell the upgrades by how ByuN's playing. He knows he's at a disadvantage. So while he's not playing cowardly, he's still playing carefully. He's not he's not trying to get too much done on the creep. I say as he loses a whole bunch of Marines and Marauders on the creep. But this does cover for the small army on the high ground. He may very well get the hatchery in the center. He does. Reynor actually a bit supply box for a moment. The worker counts high 60s. 2-2 about to complete. I expect ByuN to get a lot more aggressive in just a few seconds. Scans for the Banelings. 4th command center becoming a planetary. On the right side, 2 o'clock position. Yeah, it's more like 2:15. What would you say? No, maybe more. Is that 2:45? 2:45. Say we'll go with 2:45. Still some burrowed Banes out there. Oh my. The Widowmine's heavily inconvenienced by those Banelings. A few more gonna be taken out. ByuN at 126 army supply across the board, nearly maxed out. Infestation bit on the way. Here comes Reynor. Whole lot of Hydras, Lings, and Banes from both sides. Siege tanks trying to hold the line. More Widowmines crashing in, but that's just not enough for ByuN. The medevacs can't heal fast enough to stop the Banelings. And that means he's gonna have to pick up and get out. But another army darts into the center. The Queens moving together to try to deal with it. Widowmine's dealt with as well. Widowmine dragged into the Terran army. And ByuN is forced back yet again. 3-3 on the way. Hive should be starting momentarily for Reynor. Widowmine's diffused. Lurker Den starts. Another hatch. The Hydra count growing. He's up to 20 here. Still no Hive on the way. Bio army. Ooh, I think he noticed the Baneling's burrow mid-fight. The most cleverest Zergs will try to pull that off, but not quite here. Hive starts. A +3 infantry weapons. ByuN now has the supply lead. Reynor has been fighting throughout the map, but has yet to really make progress against ByuN's economy. ByuN doesn't have a Ghost Academy. He only has one factory, a decided split from Gumiho's much more mech-oriented late-game style. I don't even think this is really late-game. ByuN just plays an incredibly extended mid-game. Because it starts with M, as do all his favorite units. Reapers, Marines, Marauders, and Mines. Medevacs. Mules. Well, ByuN on the right flank is finally pressed back, but in the main, the Queens are being cut down. Enough units come back to deal with it. Oh, those are changelings, okay. And Reynor once again holds. Eight lurkers on the way. The Banelings are doing a pretty decent job of giving vision. But we've seen this situation before. Now, this is the most tenuous time for Reynor. The most dangerous moment. His lurkers are finishing. He loses another hatch, but he drives the Marines into the burrowed main. And they connect. Well. Lurker range on the way. ByuN gonna try to take the gold in the center right. +3 armor now complete. Fully upgraded bio. Both players maxed out. 130 army supply. Widowmine trying to connect. Reynor splitting. Not quite there. Widowmine finds a connection. ByuN dragging some of the army off to the left. Lurker slicing through in the center, but not enough of them. Hatchery gonna go down. ByuN driven back on the left, but finds success on the center line. Widowmine punches into the Zerglings. And a planetary under the guise of the Overlord is going to complete. Reynor putting together an attack here. A whole lot of lurkers. Lurker range completed. Seismic spines are ready. So ByuN, that planetary might not last long. But that's a lot of army supply committed anywhere else, says ByuN. And he tries to swing through over to the left. A hatchery under fire yet again. I don't know how many times this hatchery has gone down, been canceled, and destroyed ever since the first Reapers. Dropping into the lurkers, slicing through. Gold base, center right. Hydra's closing in. ByuN boosts and pulls back. Oh, the lurker's still going. Planetary being repaired. Is he even going to try to hold on to it? The SCVs are being evacuated. The lurkers aren't actually killing it that quick. It just seems like he's given up on it. He has. I don't know how this went so wrong for Reynor. But he's down to 167 supply. ByuN still at 200. He loses the gold, but he gains... Well, he's knocked Reynor right back down to 4 bases. The creep spread is non-existent. The lurkers. Annoying set of thorns in his side, but none he can't deal with. The sheer bulk of bio here. The lurkers are not quite in position. There's not much vision on the map. Here comes the Terran army. More lurkers have finished up. No adaptive talents. He can't really get on top of that army very easily. The Widowmines are preventing too many of the Zerglings and Banelings from closing in. ByuN picks up 4 more medevacs, a single lurker, going to pressure ByuN's fourth. Neither player able to expand past their initial bases easily. Reynor is not out of this yet. ByuN was not able to break through like he was in game 1. He got a lot done, but he has not won the game, far from it. And that means Reynor should be able to reestablish a 5th base. He's got the lurkers out on the field. He's got enough of them to be a real... 21! Okay. I didn't realize they had grown to quite that number. And we'll see if ByuN has. As now, here they come. On the way across. Lurkers will burrow. 20 lurkers. That is untenable. Liberators on the way. Ghosts as well. Both the counters here. He tries to split the blue sea. Snipes lining up. Hard to miss. He's stimming. Here comes ByuN from the south as well. He's closing in. Almost 360-degree surround. Have you ever seen 20 lurkers disappear? ByuN makes magic happen yet again. I don't know if that was quite... 16 lurkers down in that fight. The reinforcing ones are too late to save their brethren. ByuN not intimidated by the lurkers. They can only fire one direction at a time, and while they might shred any units in their way, they can't fire everywhere at once. And ByuN abusing that geometric lack of capabilities. How many medevacs? He's got 15 medevacs right now, so that really tells you the style he likes to play here. Oh, unfortunate. ByuN had to take a pause. I think it's the wrist issues cropping up. After such a moment, Reynor says it's okay, no worries. We don't pause for anyone here. Reynor, a great sport. Knowing that, God, I think it's hard to be a great sport after that just happened. But credit to Reynor. He knows that was potentially a game-losing fight, and to have your opponent pause, like... The ghosts are closing in. ByuN continues forward. God, it's hard to think about the situation. Like, he's so good. He's literally tearing apart his wrist, though, it seems. Now, he's still maxed out. This is why Terran players are so salty, alright? The physical strain. ByuN at near 30 years old. Still taking the Italian stallion to match point. Oh, a bit of an off-color ending to tie it up, but... Oh... God, it's so tough. He's said in the past that it is partially from... Now, I am no doctor, and I am not quoting correctly, but it is partially psychosomatic. As in, when he gets very mentally stressed, his wrists are in severe pain. It isn't actually carpal tunnel that he knows of. At least on last I heard for ByuN. Now, I mean, I'm sure it's a risk, but it is a stressful game. It is the most stressful game. I'm stressed out, cast. So, if you enjoy that stress, like, subscribe. Jimmy, 1,060. I think we can do better on this one. I know it's been an arduous experience. Thank you for sharing it with me. Some casts are more casual, laid back. Not this one. This has been the most high-strung Zerg versus Terran possibly ever. And that's the tough part. And I think that's the tough part overall. Once again, not to be the YouTube medical expert, But when it's effectively as much a mental health as a physical health thing, that's harder, in my opinion, as someone who maybe doesn't have the greatest work-life balance. In that, why would you have at least one? Anyways, like, you can rest. You can physically rest. You can not play. You play less. But if it's a stress thing, where the stress and strain of, you know, world-class tournaments is the issue, I don't know. I don't know what the solution to that is. Like, I know you always do your wrist stretches. You may notice if you ever watch me stream, I'm always doing... There was actually at DreamHack a few years ago. They had like a professional masseuse. Yeah, for the players. Who also did like a short bit about the best wrist stretches. Because, of course, StarCraft players are the most acceptable because there's a bit of repetitive action. So you'll find me always doing a sort of wrist stretches and stuff. And now, you know what? Do some wrist stretches right now. What's keeping you from it? All right? Your hands are free. Very likely. You don't need 2 hands for Diablo 4. If you're still playing. Probably BattleBit. You might need 2 hands for that. Check out BattleBit. It's amazing. It's worth it, by the way. I've been loving it. Anyways, though. How do you deal with the mental strain? I don't know. And it's hard to see. Because obviously you want to watch ByuN play. ByuN wants to play. But what do you do? And of course, like, as someone who is on the ragged edge of a 3rd decade myself, ByuN only a few months younger, I've always pointed to ByuN as like, look, ByuN's pretty much 30 years old. Look at his micro, all right? That doesn't mean he can micro better than Reynor. Arguably he can, though this game so far not. But at some point the strain is there, so. See Reynor in 10 years. Anyway, stretch your wrists. Get up, walk around. After the series, maybe. Save that for the Loco videos. Where were we? Well, we're going into Game 5. ByuN with a decisive victory against the Lurkers. Despite everything. Able to surround and gun down 20 Lurkers in a fight. Which is, without any siege tanks or liberators, that may be the most decisive fight against Lurkers I've ever seen. It is ridiculously hard to maintain enough army supply in a good enough position, because your units have a tendency, you know, that's the problem with StarCraft 2, is your units have a tendency to really follow your orders well. And if you say a move towards those Lurkers, they will all clump up and try to get essentially stand on each other's shoulders to hit the Lurkers, and then get eviscerated by those same Lurkers. So maintaining the spread while also constantly stimming and sniping is an absolute titanic feat. Game 5, the decider. And it looks like we're gonna have the most macro opener yet. Yes, ByuN 5 times in a row has broken out the Threepers to start. And 5 times in a row, Reynor has dealt with them one way or another. But this time, ByuN with a quick 3 command center. Reynor actually delayed on the evolution chamber in order to get, well, actually quite delayed. Wow, look at the upgrade disadvantage. He's going to be almost not an entire, but 2/3 of the 1-1 behind. Over a minute. Which doesn't sound like a lot, but then you realize these games haven't been that long. That last game, what, 20 minutes? 21? Something like that? It is, and that was the longest game yet. They're just so hectic. There's so much going on, so much crammed in to such a small amount of game, relatively. Oh yeah, wow. Quite an upgrade advantage. ByuN looking good in Game 5. But we have yet to really see. It's one Reaper. 16 Lings. One Reaper. Dead. Yep, seems about right. That's a ratio that's going to be hard to maintain, but... Stims. Working his way up, targeting down some Banes. Unfortunate timing. Oh, gets every Marine out of there. Besides, well, one. The one that didn't fit in the medevacs. One done. For ByuN. He's got the edge here. How will he wield it? Baneling speed was the focus for Reynor this time around. 10 seconds out. Makes it that much harder. Plus 5 HP on top of the roly-poly upgrade. Hydralisk Den as well. But ByuN, he's got the production online. 5 racks. Factory. Reactored starport. Full 3 base Terran. He's walled off his third. And he's ready to move forward. SCV just set up for a counterattack. The budget sensor tower. ByuN begins his tank push. Catches some Banelings out in the middle of the map that were setting up for a counterattack. Gonna clear out a whole bunch of the creep on the left flank. Gets everything on his side. ByuN sweeping the field. 2-2 is already on the way. ByuN showing that he's perfectly comfortable with a drawn-out macro game. He's able to keep up and potentially surpass. It wasn't that he couldn't play this sort of game before. It's he just hedged his bets on the Marines early. The siege tanks jammed in. Double drop left flank. Muscular augments about to complete for the Hydralisks. The Banelings not doing enough. ByuN 167 to 148 supply. 2-2 not quite done yet. Still on the edge of the creep. The siege tanks are in a great position. Losing a few Marines at the front. Double drop. How many Marines? Ooh, we did lose all the Marines in the double drop, so just sending the medevacs over towards the front. ByuN fighting with even upgrades. A surround from Reynor. Drawing some of the siege tank fire. Banelings closing in. ByuN not quite able to leverage this position as much as he'd like. But he carves his way forward. The Marines and the medevacs are more than enough. And another hatchery will fall. Even the drones getting hunted down by a small squad of Marines. And yet again, ByuN takes the supply lead with an incredibly supply-efficient army. He's got +2 weapons. Closing in on the third. No counterattack for Reynor. He's trying to build up the Hydralisk count. There are 14 Marines in production at a time. Absolute macro god right now. Well, he micros at the front. ByuN unstoppable. The Terran army continues forward. He picks up with 3 medevacs. The siege tanks looking to punch through as well. The triple drop. Hydra's trickling in. Zerglings as well. Adding to the kill count. ByuN at 179 supply. 22 drones down. +1 vehicle weapons. Finally, the upgrades for Reynor. There are drones on the other side of the map. Reynor still has an okay... He's down to 3 bases. He still has an okay drone count, but then you look at the drones on the other side of the map, and it's not not looking as good. Siege tanks and Marines, spread thinly, will be taken out. Oh, and a medevac full of Marines. 16. Oh no! ByuN, what has... It's a disaster. He loses medevacs. He loses everything at the front, and his supply... What a drop. That looks like... when ByuN's army supply drops like my army supply in a ladder game. Oh no. A series of incredibly unfortunate events. He loses the medevacs, the push at the front, and some of the reinforcements. Reynor still has teeth, and claws, and spines, and banelings. Probably most importantly. ByuN's lifted his mane. He is by no means out of this. That was a dramatic momentum shift. Reynor throwing some cold water on the burning fire that was ByuN. Tearing through the map. 3-3 though. On the way. Reynor has been devastated economically. He's now barely recovering as he goes for the fourth. The only benefit is that ByuN didn't have the 10 command centers that he sometimes does going into this late game scenario. Drop, shut down. Already plenty there. He knows that ByuN's gonna hit it. Hive is on the way. ByuN, once again, army supply lead, +3 armor. It is 67 Marines, 3 siege tanks. He's building 16 Marines at a time. Another hatch. No lurker down. Reynor, I think, I don't blame him. At this point, I wouldn't trust the lurkers either. Not against ByuN. Hydraling Bane has found a lot more success in being able to actually fight the army, as opposed to try to shove it out of position. ByuN now. Oh, there are 4 Vipers on the way. I think the first time we're gonna see him. Yeah, assuming we get there. Reynor is held on. He's still got some creep, but ByuN is slowly cutting down on that. He's hit 3-3. So he's at that, he's maxed out pretty much with +3 infantry, weapons, and armor. So it's not gonna get any better for him. It's now's the time. It looked like he almost had the game, but now this is his best shot at it. Reynor has plenty of army supply, but does he have the ability to break through this siege position? Where are the Vipers? They have yet to be spotted. The creep is receding. The rocks will be taken down as well, preventing any easy sort of flank. 1 Marine on the low ground, abandoned. Reynor slipping around the back. Where are the Vipers? Where are the Vipers? The reinforcements are spotted. Oh, here they come. A beautiful surround from Reynor. The blinding clouds, parasitic bomb. And Reynor shows ByuN what a surround looks like. The Queens catch everything on the way out. What a devastating ending for ByuN. Ah, a beautiful setup. I want to go one more time. Let's watch that from both sides. First, ByuN. Could use some help here indeed. ByuN. Oh, he's got a couple sets of like Marines in the medevacs. He gets caught out. He scans for the reinforcements. Splitting, stimming, doing his best. Didn't even realize the Vipers were coming in until it's potentially too late. He overstayed his welcome. Well, he wasn't welcome at all, so it was borrowed time. And now, Reynor. Reynor. Setting it up. Even the Queen's involved. Here, right-clicking the Banelings through to maximize the amount of shots they draw before going down. Parasitic bomb. Reynor with some beautiful fights. You feel for ByuN. I can't imagine. I'm sure Reynor does as well. Like, what a beautiful series. I hope ByuN is able to keep going. Reynor showing that he can adapt, he can overcome. And a great Terran versus Zerg there. But I hope I made the better part of your day. Or not the better part, but a whole lot of your day. A little bit better. Send your wrists to ByuN. And your meditation ritual, I don't know. But Reynor deserves it. Well played. 3-2. You literally cannot ask for more. That's how best of fives work. Thank you for watching. 1,060 likes, Jimmy. Well, we'll see how it goes. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Good luck. Have fun. Stay chill.